Begin, and Boom Zoom immediately into the air from Toxin, and self-righting, but Keith the Teeth capitalising.
Toxin with that vertical spinner spinning up to speed, not really grabbing hold of anything so far. Boom Zoom tussling with Toxin and Keith the Teeth.
And it looks like Boom Zoom's actually got a lower ground than Toxin, so they're winning this fight and almost flipping him over.
They are indeed. They've got the forks on the front, and Toxin running without the forks in this fight, but I believe the weapon has stopped. The weapon belt has gone. Cut from Boom Zoom. Keith the Teeth corralling the pair of them. Boom Zoom lifting Toxin up. Toxin can't self-right without the weapon.
And is this a bit of team working from Boom Zoom and Keith the Teeth?
Toxin over and cannot self-right. The weapon is dead. And the pit is enabled. Keith the Teeth hitting the pit.
Going down.
And Boom Zoom now getting underneath Keith the Teeth. Are they going to carry him into the pit?
Done.
They are out. Boom Zoom is the winner. They progress.
Brilliant driving there from Rob. Controlled the fight from start to finish, despite that early scare from Toxin. Déjà 2 multi-grab lifting near the pit. Away we go. And a big smack immediately from Ultraviolence.
And Boring Bot seeing the back there and diving straight in. They want to stay away from that drum spinner.
Ultraviolence using, Boring Bot, using an all-new weapon. And speaking of Ultraviolence, they've shredded one of the lifting arms of Déjà 2 multi-grab lifting.
For a second there, I thought Boring Bot was going to get in underneath Ultraviolet. Into the air we go. And now the sparks are flying. Now they're getting the right side of the weapon. But Boring Bot not out.
No, Boring Bot also using a new weapon for this competition. Normally they're a grabber. He's standing on with a lifting arm to see if they can clamp and lift opponents over.
And look at the pace and the speed Boring Bot has. It is such a quick and nimble robot, but up into the air, you don't have any control in the air.
Hitting the ceiling, and the pit is enabled. I wonder if either of these two will gamble for the pit. The big smack again there from Ultraviolet, and another big smack hitting the ceiling for the second time.
But Boring Bot's still not out. It's up again for a third time.
You have
to say the pit button is Boring Bot's best chance here, but they were looking a little immobilized there. Maybe only one side driving.
Out of the arena. Big smack from Ultraviolence, and out goes Boring Bot, and the Pointier, and in the red square, Abracagrabra.
And immediately starting to grab as they pincer the poor little robot in between them. And why are their team working already?
Red Riot turned over. He's had so many issues with the robot building up this week, and I think Mr. Pointier.
It looks like Abracagrabra, if they just back off here, they might have the match to themselves, but they want to go in for some damage. That's just a carcass.
I mean, I think it's over already. Abracagrabra.
And we can see the arm is waving, it's surrendering. It's tapping out.
I think it's all over, and the win here is going to go to the lifter bot, Abracagrabra.
Begin, and Bish Bash Bosh all going after Nemesis there, but Sir Lance-a-Frog got the flipper up, not doing much damage, and I'm already seeing shrapnel coming off of the cluster bots.
And already one of the forks has been smashed off the blue Bish Bash Bosh machine, wheeling around his green as well, taking on Sir Lance-a-Frog.
And I thought for a second their Nemesis weapon was disactivated, but no, it is going, and you can see there it starts to impact their maneuverability.
Big smack there on the blue.
Making work on the cluster bot, the poor little cluster bot, but Sir Lance-a-Frog coming to his defense.
Yeah, the green I think is stuck, and the red is dead on one side as well. Nemesis is now stuck on top of blue, and I think stuck as well. Lance-a-Frog zipping around the arena, chasing after red.
And the pit button is enabled, so how many robots can we fit in the pit? That's going to be the question here. So Lance-a-Frog definitely controlling this fight. I think it is just between Sir Lance-a-Frog and the cluster bot.
Yeah, the one red mini bot left, and Lance-a-Frog guiding red towards the pit slowly and down, and I think that will be that. Sir Lance-a-Frog with the win of that. Step Up 3D with the paper armor lifting Titan up from the start.
And for a second there, Step Up was beautifully placed, avoiding the egg beater. And oh no, Bentō's up on his side, he can't do anything.
Absolute carnage at the front there of Step Up 3D. One of the forks ripped away.
So you can see Titan now struggling. That egg beater is up to speed. They're struggling to maneuver. But Step Up, the shield, the ramp is almost coming off, and the wheel is off.
Step Up there, deflecting Titan, and Titan's got to be careful they don't gyro on top of now Viper's carcass. Oh dear.
Oh dear. So is Bentō out at this stage? Are they able to maneuver, or are they out?
I believe so. They've been eliminated. They've been down for too long. Step Up
going down.
And now this might be working for Step Up, because that flat edge is harder for the egg beater to grind against.
Yeah, they can't get that good bite connection. They can grind it down, but they can't get a good solid connection and bite it like that.
But losing the wheel has really costed them. They don't have the traction to push Titan into the pit zone. So Titan is grinding away. The damage is being done. Is Step Up going to put itself in the pit?
I mean,
save itself the damage?
I reckon they're sitting there
Out
baiting
it
them on.
goes.
Well saved, Eli. Well done.
So teetering on the edge,
And
Titan.
now, backing Titan back. Surely not. What a recovery that would be.
Would be a great story as Titan goes after a discarded wheel. Look at the carnage. There's nothing left to Step Up.
The paper armor. I mean, there's nothing left of it really, is there? I hope he's got another sheet.
I hope so too. But so Step Up now on the right side of Titan, but Titan keeps pirouetting around. They can't quite get the
He's
purchase.
pushing Titan back though. This is a spirited performance, if nothing else, from Step Up, and Titan has stopped.
What has happened here? What has happened
Counted
here?
out. Step Up
here.
3D from the jaws of defeat
9,
has defeated
8,
Titan.
7.
Maybe they just caught the kill switch. And there we go. Step Up is the winner. Rudimental.
Begin.
Away we go. Bby Shrekt up to speed immediately. Rudimental holding back.
And everyone, it's a standoff. No one wants to make the first hit. Who's going to go in first? Bby Shrekt up against Axe-olotl. The fight has now properly begun.
Axe-olotl over and does the thing and is stuck. Rudimental sent flying into the air and is stuck on the wall.
Oh no, and
that was that.
Rudimental up on the wall. That's them stuck. Is this the end? They're tapping out.
Well, I'm glad my money wasn't misplaced. Bby Shrekt turning up the wick and dominating the fight there, but if
Begin.
you're of a nervous disposition, cover your ears.
And you can see Red Fox going straight for Night Fury. They don't want that spinner up to speed, but now it's too late. And listen to the carnage.
Absolutely shredding the tracks off of Red Fox as well. Kenneth just leaving a cursory glance at the moment. I'd stay well away if I were you, Kenneth.
And it got very dangerous there. Night Fury making their way around the back of Red Fox. That is where all of the controllers are. And Red Fox now struggling to move around. And Kenneth already looks immobilized.
I think Kenneth has been sniped by Night Fury. Night Fury at full chat, and I think that's the end for Red Fox. Well, they're tapping as well. So I think our winner, by default, is going to be Night Fury. So well done, Sam. Good effort.
Begin.
And Chucky already lining themselves up, but no, they immediately switch around and charge after Zeitgeist. And here comes the hammer saw as it starts to come down. Is it doing damage?
It's up to speed now, and down it comes and deflects off that wedge of Chucky.
So look at that, Chucky really designed well for this fight. They are deflecting off the hammer, not really getting
They're
grip.
caught on the fork of Dolos. Zeitgeist is standing back for now.
And now
Dolos trying to get round to one of the forks to come off the front of Zeitgeist.
And that was a beautiful pirouette they were doing there, a bit of Strictly Come Dancing, if you will. And now we've got 3 robots all tight up into the corner. As Chucky is able to disengage, and now they're back to moving again.
Zeitgeist is stuck on top of Dolos's forks, can't get off there. Chucky just standing back, hits the pit button.
And now we're seeing a bit of teamwork, so it's going to be Zeitgeist or Dolos who's going to end up in there, but you have to say Chucky controlling that fight now.
Very carefully standing back, watching brief at the moment for them. Zeitgeist spinner is up to speed, Dolos is not spinning currently.
And everyone backing well away from the pits. They know not to get anywhere near that. And now Dolos' saw is still operational, it is up and running. Chucky just hitting the back of it there. And is that Zeitgeist being pushed over, escorted in?
It's levitated over the pit and down it goes, Dolos pitting Zeitgeist.
Like a 2-piece slot machine, in it goes. And now we've got a 2-robot fight, and now we're really seeing the battle commence between... Oh, what?!
No! Chucky was going so well, and they've ended up...
Finally interrupted, thank you, Joe, but now we're fighting, and look at the shuffle, Abby-dabby-do, off it goes, into the air, and now it's up on his wrong side, and is that head for the exit, soaring into, oh no, the damage that they're doing.
Yeah, soaring into the top of Digestive, his other one.
Digestive.
Can Abby do right? It's going to get close to that wall. He's going to try and use the wall for purchase. I think he's going to have to.
And Abby-dabby-do up onto the right way. So now they're going to head on over. Maybe can they save Digestive from head for the exit? The count has started.
Pips. Get 5 balls.
Yeah, they are stuck. We're going to have an unstick of head for the exit and Digestive.
Recommence.
Begin.
And Abby-dabby-do shuffling over. And oh no, that is immediately out. Head for the exit. Called it there. They've given the sign, but the referee counting them out.
So as it turns out, it was head for the exit that had died, and Digestive was stuck on top, and he's stuck on top again. Abby-dabby-do, the shuffler, has won the fight.
And they are through.
Begin.
So we're getting the weapons powered up there by Boss before they start to make their fights and make their inroads into their enemy. And getting stuck on the wall there is Luchador.
And over goes Luchador, flipped over by Imposter Syndrome. A little bit of connection as well with N-Boss. Imposter Syndrome flips over N-Boss self-right using the weapon.
And you gotta say, this is a good strategy by N-Boss, trying to get out of the corner, get some damage done. But the other robots, they know they need to team up. They need to really disable that weapon.
Absolutely, those forks on N-Boss incredibly long in order to get that kind of purchase.
And did anyone count how many flips that was? I have no idea, but is that an immobilization there? Oh dear, they are stuck on their side, they are unable to get back, and N-Boss now up against the wall. Luchador doing a great job.
Imposter Syndrome eliminated. Luchador rocking and rolling as he's wont to do, trying to zip around and trying to get to the back of N-Boss. Shane driving N-Boss incredibly well.
So it's now really going to come down to the pit button, I think, for me. That's going to be the decider here. If N-Boss cannot get any real damage done, a couple of sparks flying there. Luchador doing a really great job to stay out of the way.
Well, the pit's just gone down, there was no siren there.
So a stealthy pit deployment, and now they're getting close. Luchador, are they going to get the cape out? Are they going to lure N-Boss into the pits?
Send them all the way over. N-Boss using those forks. They're struggling to purchase a little bit on the arena floor.
It is a difficult, so both of these robots, they have got forks and they dig into the metal floor because it's not completely flush. There is a little bit of separation there, and now we're seeing some damage. Luchador though, that knocked him out of the damage zone and close to the Uta zone. Not quite.
Popped over there by N-Boss. N-Boss struggling to get any connection to those forks. If anything, keeping Luchador away from the weapon.
Yeah, those forks, you can see they have a wider tip and then they narrow as they extend. And I think that's actually hurting them. And Luchador, just the shape of the robot, there's nothing there that the N-Boss can dig into.
There are 4 seconds left. 3, 2,
1.
Whoa! And down the pit goes N-Boss at the last second.
So carbonated beverage with the bottles, they are pressurized bottles. I am very scared for what kind of damage we'll hear here.
And we have Zephyrus in there as well, an incredibly unique face spinner, and it is absolutely bananas. Look at it go.
And then that is, of course, Baku, who started in the blue zone. Listen to the damage. Cover your ears if you're close to the arena. Zephyrus, what are you doing?
They're just, they're spinning around and they're back on their, they're not back on their wheels, they're spinning again. Carbonated beverage. There goes one of the bottles.
So you see the depressurization, you can see the vaporization.
Down the arena!
And in the Uta zone, I missed that there. But you saw that the decompression, you saw the mist form in the bottle. That's how pressurized it was, and now we got a 2-robot fight.
I don't know who hit it, I think it was Bakugo who hit it. Zephyrus is doing its own little thing.
Never mind Robot Wars. We've entered Blades.
Going down.
Zephyrus, turn the weapon off, Morgan. There you go.
Up into the air. Almost into the pit, but not quite. So that was very, very close. Baku doing their best to get him into the pit. They are thinking about it.
Being counted out by our ref. Zephyrus has stopped. One side of drive has stopped. And it's going to be Bakugo who wins the fight. And that was extremely hyperactive.
Begin.
Now Angel Slice gets spin up and Lilith straight for it.
And putting them up against the wall, and now Motherloader getting in there as well, and the sparks are starting to fly, but Lilith giving no sympathy.
And Angel Slice pinned against the wall and stuck. That's why Dave didn't want it spinning up too quickly. And as a result, Angel Slice immobilized and I think shortly eliminated.
Well, the count is now starting and it's now ended. So if another robot, shoved into them and re-engaged them into the fight, they would have been still in it, but they are officially counted out. It is a 2-robot fight.
It is, and Lilith in underneath Motherloader once again. That low ground clearance at the front of the wedge of Lilith, paying dividends. Motherloader
going down.
And what they have in traction, they really don't have an acceleration. They're really struggling. And Lilith getting underneath Motherloader and into the pit.
Expertly done there by Dave, pitting Motherloader.
Begin.
So Icebreaker getting their weapon up to speed, and the cluster bots kind of divided and conquering, but not too sure. And there seems to be a bit of teaming up on Icebreaker there.
Oh, but Revis has been given a crevice in the back. Look at that, completely splitting the back armor, and that's the end of that.
They are immobilized, so that spinner has already claimed 1 victim. There's 2 more robots left for them to saw their way into, making their way onto the other cluster bot, and there seems to be a little bit of difficulty mobilizing there. They're not moving around. And the underside is getting a bit of a damaging there.
Hits from behind, and there goes the others. Removable link on Revis. That's the end of Revis.
So Icebreaker now, they've claimed 2 victims. Are they going to do much damage to Ryu-Kishin? I don't know whether they're tap out. What would you do in this situation?
I mean, Ryu-Kishin is getting in underneath there. lower to the floor. Icebreaker's giant wedge at the front, very adept at, you know, getting underneath, but struggling a little bit. Closing in, backs away.
Playing the defensive game. They're trying to get a bit of momentum up because that scoop, it isn't scooping them as much as they want. I think the elastic grippiness nature, although it's a brilliant material, is actually hindering them. And Ryu-Kishin here is actually doing a fantastic job defending.
It is, but that titanium wedge at the front has now been peeled at the corner, so it isn't flat to the floor anymore. That's going to be a problem, and it's going to give an opening to Icebreaker.
And this is a shoving match. Now Icebreaker deciding not to go for the pit button. I thought they might, but no, they want to get the damage done. They want to win this. I think in the moment, probably judge's decision heading their way.
Absolutely, but it's not over until it's over. We saw that earlier with other fights.
And
Icebreaker's still up to speed.
We just heard the whine of the saw blade there. It started to dull for a second, so maybe a couple more hits.
There it is, massive hits.
And look at that front panel now. That front panel is done.
Ryu-Kishin has stopped Icebreaker.
Begin.
Away we go. Vertex up to speed immediately, heading towards both the opponents and smacking Antithesis. Antithesis, a crusher at beaterweight scale, fairly rare to see.
And Vertex really doing some fantastic job. Batteries not included, upside down. They are looking to be immobilized. I think they are out, so now it is just Antithesis versus Vertex.
Trying to ride this up, it's using the traction on the floor that one of the wheels has, but it's struggling to kind of get that in, you know, kind of purchase.
And Vertex here, they're biding their time. They're actually waiting. The spinner was not running. They were waiting to see what happened. The pit is now enabled. I thought Vertex would go for the Uta zone. Not quite. I thought they were going to line up the spinner and get them in the Uta zone. That would be fantastic to see.
And now look, they've pinned themselves off the floor. The wheel is spinning, but the weapon has got it wedged against the wall. Vertex has won this fight. As smooth as you like. That was easy pickings for Vertex.
And a little bit of showmanship at the end.
Begin.
Up into the air already. And that's really knocked Inertia off. They got no control. And now they're back under control. They go straight in for another hit though. That is the problem with Inertia. That powerful spinning weapon. They lose control and that's putting them into trouble. One
of the Rusty Pieces cluster bots has lost the wheel and now the other one is being terrorized by Inertia.
Almost going to the Uta zone there, and for some reason Blast Furnace wants to get in on this damage.
Look at the top armor of Blast Furnace has been peeled away and Inertia here absolutely terrorizing more Rusty Pieces again and into the ceiling for a second time.
But now the pit is bot dropped, so that is really danger zone for Inertia, because if it loses control like this, it's over! Oh, so close, but not in.
How did it not go down the pit?
But that is what I was talking about, the danger of Inertia. Once it loses control, it is so close to going in, and I think that's the end.
I think that's that, because one of the Inertia's attacks has killed Rust in Pieces and Blast Furnace eliminated. What an insane fight that was.
Begin, and now we see the spinners getting up and running, and Oubley running over resistance there, but Fang now doing some damage.
Oh, Fang stuck on its end. Can he get back down? It's trying to rock itself back.
It is seesawing, so Fang's opportunity now is pretty much someone knocks into him, which is possible. Look at the speed of resistance.
Turns Oubley upside down. Oubley with some new chunky tyres for this event.
And for a second there I thought Oubley was going to do Fang a favour and get him back into the fight. Not happening.
Instead they've ripped a wheel off of resistance. It's now down to 3.
And that's really going to hamper their manoeuvrability. Can't get the words out. Look how quick these robots are moving. I can't keep up.
Pit button activated. Oubley over the pit. Gets away now. Terrorising.
Going down.
Resistance. Up and over and spinning around is Oubley, out of control.
And they're dancing dangerously close. Oubley so close, and they've nudged themselves in.
And down the pit. It hasn't hit the floor, but it's very much in the pit. Angel Slice in the blue.
It's 3 versus 1. Prepare for some carnage as Angel Slice, the spinner, gets up to speed, and already Bish Bash Bosh, they're being thrown around the arena.
Now don't forget as well, these are the redemption fights. If you lose these, you are out of the main competition. Angel Slice's weapon has slowed to a halt.
Is that a disabled weapon there? It looks like it. So now it's going to be 3 versus 1 in a shunting match. It is definitely in Bish Bash's Bosh's favour. And look at this!
They're holding him in place. Red is hovering by that pit button, waiting for the 30 seconds to elapse. Like that, hit the pit button, down it goes, and Angel Slice held by the pit.
So you have to remember, look at this!
And Angel Slice pitted. Great. Begin. Away we go. Wastelander out of the traps. Chucky trying to get in underneath of Wastelander. That wedge has pinned itself on the floor. escapes from the pits. Wastelander circling around. Chucky nipping around the floor. Wastelander with those tracks as well. That enormously long pole at the front. Chucky trying to get around to the side and in underneath. Doesn't get it. Wastelander once again trying to use that pokey pole in front of the pit. Is enabled. 30 seconds gone. Quarter of the match done. In underneath goes Chucky, flipping itself over. Wastelander scoots away across the arena floor. Wastelander chasing down after Chucky. Chucky manoeuvring around again in underneath and lifting Wastelander, but it turns itself over once again. Chucky zipping around the arena floor, trying to get around to the side. Can he do it? Not quite. Now up behind the back of Wastelander and turn itself over. On top is Wastelander using the grabber on top to try and prevent him from self-righting. No one got to the pit yet with just under a minute to go. Pit button, as I say that, activated.
Going down.
Chucky corralling
Going down.
Wastelander towards the pits. Can he get him down? Big push again from Chucky, self-rights. Or can't self-right currently. Now does. Chucky nudging Wastelander towards the pit. Don't drive down the pit, Wastelander, you're very close. One of the tracks is over. Gets away though. Chucky pinging him against the arena wall. Slowly but surely escaping Wastelander. Chucky, the one doing the chasing and the harrying at the moment. Spinning very dangerously there towards the pit. Doesn't quite go down. Chucky with a good push. Wastelander, oh! Great
10,
recovery.
9.
Down to the last
8,
10 seconds.
7.
I think we're finally going to have our first judge's
5,
decision. Although,
4,
I've said
3,
that too soon, maybe,
2,
who knows?
1.
And it is a judge's decision between Wastelander and Chucky. I don't know, I feel like it's got more potential. Here we go. Zeitgeist away. Head for the exit with the sword, up to speed and slicing through the front there. It's like a dentist drill.
It is surgical, it is in there, and it looks to be wedged actually. I think the saw has been wedged, and we're seeing already the Roboteers is tapping out. Is that the end of Head for the Exit?
Head for the Exit has stopped once again, and Zeitgeist is going to win. Oh, the fuse has gone on Head in the blue. We are away. Red Fox Rampage with taking off the wedge off the front, which doesn't need it anymore. It has not fighting a horizontal spinner. And Imposter Syndrome with the full panel lifter.
I feel like this might be the first match without a spinner in it.
It might be.
So this is going to be a battle of control and aggression. It's going to be a shunting match for the most part. And then when the pit button is enabled, that is when danger comes.
Well,
but
speaking of the pit button, Imposter Syndrome has wedged itself on the floor.
Oh, and that is properly wedged.
Enable.
Excellent sportsmanship here from Sev, trying to release Imposter Syndrome. Well done. A round of applause, please, for Red Fox Rampage, freeing Imposter Syndrome and letting the fight continue for more action.
But the pit button, we might have missed it during that. The pit button is now enabled. So when will we see it become active? I'm not quite sure. Red Fox struggling a little bit, to get around.
On the scene of the arena there was a little bit high centered, back going again now.
But Imposter Syndrome, that shovel, that front edge, it is damaged, and that's causing them trouble.
There's a hex key there. I don't know how that works.
Well, you know, just a safety switch, a safety device.
Absolutely. Imposter Syndrome taking the plunge into the pit release with just
down.
over 45 seconds remaining.
Going down.
And now it's a head-to-head shunting match again. Imposter Syndrome now getting much better traction. Look at that shunting now driving over Red Fox.
There we go. Over goes Imposter Syndrome, and that's that.
That's the end of the fight.
Has no way of getting back on their wheels. And Red Fox Rampage with a red square. Away we go. Tighten up to speed. Batteries not included. Don't go broadside. Otherwise that happens, and a big smack there on batteries not included. One of the wheels all gummed up there.
Well, if you ask me, it looks like batteries not included is stuck on the pit there. And, well, Titan really just has the front of the ruts here. They can do whatever damage they want to do. I think this is over, and they've tapped out.
They have, yeah, batteries not included. Calling it a day, and I think probably for the best. I wonder who's going to be smiling at the end of it, though.
You are too far now. So Fang doing a fantastic job there. Keep the teeth avoiding Fang there. That initial hit's doing a great job to try and get around the back.
Big smack there from Fang, and I think might have damaged one of the drive sides because it's now crab walking around.
Well, both of them are crab walking. So this is an interesting battle now because neither of them are in full control.
It's literally become the physical embodiment of the Batarang, hasn't it?
It It really has swinging around like that. But look at the speed. It can get a lot of speed. It almost turns itself into a weapon by itself.
Absolutely. The pit's available to whoever wants it. Keith the Teeth taking a big chunk of plastic off the top there.
And as I'm watching Keith, they look to be drifting around the arena more than anything else. I thought Keith was going to go straight for the pit button. They might be trying to hit it, but they just can't get the right angle. And they're desperately getting closer. Maybe Fang there, maybe Fang hits near, but not quite. Keith the Teeth now trying to get Fang away from that pit button. They want a clean run.
They do. All those teeth as well. Well, one has been removed there, but all of them are now bent back on themselves. That is damage sustained. Fang struggling to transition towards Keith the Teeth, and the pit has been activated.
So with under 1 minute left on the clock, we're going to get ever closer to the pit, because that really is Keith's strategy, and Fang willingly going over to the pit themselves.
Absolutely. Maybe they're trying to bait them on and try and draw them in. You know, Keith the Teeth. They've been to friends before, but I think this is either their first or second beetle, so it's very much, you know, early days for them. John Luke at the controls of Fang, very experienced, has run Igor for years, and now starting to cause the damage.
So Keith the Teeth getting on the right side of Fang. They are able to push if they are able to get the traction and the maneuverability, but Fang getting a little bit of damage in with that spinner, slowly chipping away at Keith the Teeth as Keith the Teeth skirts around the corner, the edge of the pit.
Down to the last 10 seconds, and a big impact by the end there.
So that's a big amount of damage, and Keith getting very close, but not quite in. This is going to go to a judge's decision.
It is, and what a fight. Very tactical.
Beneficial as possible, and immediately dug into the side, but didn't go in for the kill. And now Axe-olotl starting to get their weapon close enough to do damage.
That enormously long flipper blade as well of carbonated beverage is going to make it a little bit difficult to maneuver around to the side of Axe-olotl, who has pinned itself to the wall and has tapped. There we go. Excellent sportsmanship there.
So there's a bit of sportsmanship there. Round of applause, everyone. So
over. End Boss up to speed. Kenneth lightning quick out of the trap, but End Boss up to speed now. Circling around the back of Kenneth.
And you can see End Boss's spinner sparking off of the axe of Kenneth, and now Kenneth getting some axes in there.
I wonder if Kenneth could slide one of those weapon belts. While self-rising is Kenneth. I think the zip tie has gone from the removal link out the back. That's very close to getting removed.
And I think End Boss there is quite clear. They were going to go for an Uta zone because Kenneth, they want to get him up into the air just like that.
Big smack onto the ceiling, back down to earth with the bang. Kenneth under pressure here, one-sided drive, struggling. End Boss
really hunting his prey there. They're waiting to see if Kenneth taps out or if he gets counted out.
Joe is counting him down. I think Kenneth is going to be eliminated and is the winner. End Boss. Surgical precision from Shane there. In the arena we have Zephyrus in the red square, Rudimental coming from the blue, and a big smack from Zephyrus.
So now we're actually seeing Zephyrus' weapon working the way it's intended, but it looks to be trying to go forward and going absolutely nowhere.
They're high centered on that seam there, and they've managed to get away just in time.
So Zephyrus only really managing to go backwards, putting themselves back in the corner. But let's talk about Rudimentals.
Rudimentals have been counted out. And away we go.
Mr. Pointier going to be trying to grab in, getting into the jaws, and we can see Rust in Pieces now dividing and conquering, but Mr. Pointier running through the two of them.
Absolutely. Now Rust in Pieces, generally very well controlled, well maintained, and obviously well driven, but they've had a lot of upgrades internally. They're going to be wanting to see some big results this weekend. And
you can see they're starting to use those arms to really control where the robot, their competitor, can go. So they get the shovel in underneath, and then that really controls where they can robot and push them around.
It is enabled. Minute and a half to go. In underneath goes Rust in Pieces. One of them is caught in the jaw of Mr. Pointier.
And that has been pressed. Pit button pressed. So now Mr. Pointier stuck a little bit under Rust in Pieces. They don't want to go anywhere near that pit zone, but Rust in Pieces now doing their best to get Mr. Pointier over to that side of the arena.
In underneath goes one of the Rust in Pieces clusters. Can they lift the whole robot? Not quite. Both of them together, though, they can.
So that is now Mr. Pointier kind of up into the air, and it looks to be a little bit stuck as they're waving their jaws, not able to do much. They're not in this fight the way they want to be. Rust in Pieces controlling the battle so far.
Yeah, so far so good for Rust in Pieces. In underneath once again, lifting up Mr. Pointier. They guide them maybe towards that pit, yawning chasm as it is.
So less than a minute to go, and Rust in Pieces, they're controlling this fight, but they're not really in full control. I would have expected Mr. Pointier to be over to that pit a lot sooner.
This struggling to get in underneath and like use the lifters effectively as well. They can't quite turn it over completely. Can they? They're trying to line up. Mr. Pointier give it a good old heave-ho. Now the pit can't quite do so just yet.
So we're coming into the final 20 seconds of the fight, and we're getting ever closer to the pit, but pirouetting around. Mr. Pointier is escaping the jaws of that pit, and Rust in Pieces is getting closer once again. But the robots, they need to team up, but they're not quite doing it.
Not quite happening, but I think he's going to survive to a judge's decision here, Mr. Pointier. Just about does. Goes the full 2 minutes against Rust in Pieces. That was a good
begin, and we're going to see the spinning weapons immediately begin. And look at that, Oubley thinking about getting closer. A little bit of sparks off the shield.
Toxin struggling for drive and traction on the arena floor, and something's come out. It's all the electronics have come out.
So Oubley got right underneath Toxin, and they did enough damage to pull out the kill switch.
It's been gutted like a fish.
Begin.
Bentō straight out of the trap there and heading straight towards Antithesis. Much better this time around by the looks of things, Bentō.
And Antithesis there getting a little bit caught on one wheel, swinging into the wall. So that gave Bentō a little extra time to get in there and outmaneuver. And now we're seeing Antithesis up against the corner. They're being held in position.
But you can just see slowly down comes that crusher, and can they get a good grip on the front of Bentō? Not quite there.
And Bentō now escaping, getting a little bit of distance between him and Antithesis. I thought they were going to go for a charge there, not quite.
It's enabled. Bentō heads towards pit release, punches the pit release.
It's going down.
Wasting absolutely no time there, and we're getting the pit absolutely in play. Bentō, that is their strategy. They wanted the pit button activated. Antithesis staying well away from the pit zone.
Absolutely using the indestructible eBay titanium chopsticks is how the builder described the weaponry of Bentō.
And it's doing a fantastic job keeping Antithesis at arm's length. They cannot get the jaws around them.
No, they can't. And I think Antithesis is struggling as well with weight distribution. He keeps wheeling backwards, can't get the forks in underneath, and as a result can't effectively use the crusher. Bentō chasing Antithesis round.
And Bentō doing quite a good job pinning their opponent up against the wall. They've done that a couple of times this fight.
Yeah, absolutely. Can only hold them there for 10 seconds, but I think that's all they're going to need.
And am I seeing the forks? Are they lifting Antithesis just enough to get him into the pit?
Yes, they are, and down goes Antithesis. A win for Bentō, where Déjà 2 multi-grab drifting with those amazing omni wheels. It can kind of strafe from side to side. It's a wonder, and it can also suplex just like that.
So, although it's a cluster bot up against a single lonely bot, Déjà 2 really getting control and manhandling the cluster bots there. Poor little Revice. They're now fighting each other. They're not too sure. I think they need to have a little word with each other, and then they're going to get back into this competition. But Déjà 2 drifting beautifully around the arena.
So it sparks joy when it moves. It really does. And now trying to circle around to the back once again, spinning around one of the Revice clusters next to the arena wall.
And now we're going to see another suplex. Unfortunately, I think Revice is
stuck. So one of the Revice twins opens the pit, the other drives down it, and the other is pinned in the wall.
So that is, I think, the end. I think there's going to be a count out because, Revice is out of this competition.
A win for Déjà 2, multi-grab drifting. And Revice,
But let's not wait too far. And actually, as I say that, Nemesis, no, they do get out of the corner well. So now we do have a fight on hand. And Motherloader doing way better than their first fight. They've got much better traction.
And zipping around quite nicely, and that hammer swinging down. Terrifying.
So, let's see, this is a shunting match. They are going head to head quite nicely. Nemesis, I thought, would be trying to avoid the pushing match because that's heavily in Motherloader's favour, but they're not shying away.
They're not. I think one of the wheels of Nemesis might not be happy, and I think for a second it's a bit statuesque, but moving again.
But the weapon of Nemesis is just not really doing anything, so this is a pushing match. The pit button is now enabled, and I think, is that Motherloader getting stuck on the wall? It looked like it was.
Freed itself and chasing down after Nemesis. I don't know what Nemesis is doing.
And then they've got the speed, but they don't have the direction or anything to target. They are just flying around the arena. And now that the pit has been enabled, that's really dangerous for Nemesis. They need to slow it down.
Absolutely, just under a minute to go, and Motherloader cornering Nemesis, and now down comes that hammer once again. Whoa! Straight over the pit, just about surviving, and back into the action once again.
And I'm not really sure that Axe of Motherloader does much to really impact the fight, but their pushing power cannot be understated.
Absolutely not. I think the hammer is terrifying, personally. Oh, it's caught itself on the wall.
Oh,
And
no,
it's
but it's
free.
fine, it's fine, it's okay. So, Motherloader's still in this, but look at Nemesis taunting Motherloader over to the pit. There is 30 seconds left of this fight, and is that him?
And Nemesis
Watch and see.
up to speed, Red Riot, that spinner.
And that's a very interesting tactic there. Red Riot diving right over to the red zone and showing the rear end. I'm not sure what that was about.
Taunting. At the moment, Blast Furnace struggling to get going. I wonder if there's any life in that machine.
Well, Blast Furnace, they came down with the axe, but that really seems
is
to have
going again.
hampered them. Something internally might have been severed when that axe came down, but that's given Red Riot the opportunity to run circles around them and maybe get some damage done.
Red Riot, of course, struggling in that first fight, got turned upside down, can't self-right
Enabled.
at the moment.
And the countdown has begun from the head judge.
Pit going down. Pit going down.
3, 2, 1. That is Blast Furnace counted out. The winner is Red Riot.
The rounds.
Begin.
Away we go. Boring Bot straight out of the traps.
And immediately taking control of this fight, putting Ryu-Kishin up against the wall, into the corner. Boring Bot now giving some space so that they can do it all over again.
But over the top of that wedge there of Ryu-Kishin, like much slower to the ground in this fight, and of course they had to repair that damage they took earlier on. Their wedge got ripped apart. They've had to scramble it together, and they have done a great job.
And Boring Bot opted to keep their forks up into the air at one point. I'm not sure what the strategy was behind that, but still finding themselves going up and over Ryu-Kishin, but not this time, up
Great
against the
attack
wall.
there from Boring Bot. I think they were trying to use it as a grabber initially, but they've managed to turn over Ryu-Kishin. Can they right themselves? They're really struggling. They're trying their best.
Well, I think Boring Bot's considering maybe some sportsmanship. Do they self-right? But this is Robot Wars. It is a competition, and I think Ryu-Kishin is desperately trying.
But it is a win for Boring Bot, who progresses through to the round of 32. Hardly
Expect to see Boomzoo come flying out of the pit. It didn't really do so, and up into the air immediately because of N-Boss's spinner, but Boomzoo now able to avoid it, and N-Boss doing the best that they can, but they're not quite manoeuvring the way they need to.
the reach of N-Boss's weapon and forks, well, that is evidence of that. The much longer forks, able to get in underneath Boomzoo a lot further in and hit them. Boomzoo, meanwhile, struggling to self-right and does so now, but their
really
weapon is bent.
unfortunate.
They can't bring the weapon down, look.
Really unfortunate for Boomzoo. They got thrown up against the wall and then they fell right back into N-Boss's spinner. But now they're coming back into this fight. Look at the control that they have over N-Boss.
Excellent driving so far. They're pinning N-Boss against the wall. They can only hold them there for so long.
But you are right. I think they've got some damage there on that fork that they're showboating a little bit as they're up against the wall.
Now released, and the pit button has been pressed.
Oh, so close to the
But
Uta
that
zone.
weapon is now down,
down.
and it's hit the ceiling. Back into the action again goes Boomzoo. N-Boss lifted up by Boomzoo.
So Boomzoo once again taking control of this fight, taking N-Boss up against the wall, and now they look to be a little bit stuck.
Can Boomzoo carry N-Boss to the pit? Not on this occasion.
But now N-Boss is in the right position, and in
Oh.
goes.
A valiant effort, I think we can all agree, from Boomzoo.
So Abracagrabra in the red zone, Zeitgeist in the blue, and now we're doing battle. Two very impressive robots up against each other. They're circling around each other, waiting for some sort of engagement. Is this going to be a shunting match?
I mean, Abracagabra won his first fight by letting the other opponents kill themselves first. Zeitgeist had to work its way back through the redemption fight and beating an unlucky head for the exit. And Abracagabra turning around to the sides of Zeitgeist, avoid that spinner at the front.
Well, you can guess Abracagrabra, their whole mission plan is to grab their robot.
Just like that.
And that is an impressive lift up, and that is completely up into the air. Look at this. Over to the Uta zone, but not much more they can do.
It is turned over, though. It's the limited manoeuvrability somewhat. They've got two wheels on the floor now. Can Zeitgeist escape from that corner of the arena? I don't think so.
Abracagrabra is there, ready to shove them in. Are they going to go in the pit? It's on the edge.
It's teetering, it's in.
It's in.
And down the pit goes Zeitgeist. Abracagabra makes another opponent disappear. I wonder how those eBay titanium forks are going to do against Ultraviolence on first evidence. Not sure.
Not too sure, but they're jamming into the drum binner of Ultraviolence, and now we're seeing Bentō up into his side, but they're back on the right way. They're back into this fight, and look at those forks. They're dangling getting chucked all over by the egg
indestructible
meter.
eBay Titanium not holding up, and a big smack there.
And look at the bend. The forks have been bent now, but now they're underneath. And they're trying to jam into the spinner of Ultraviolet, but I think it's too quick.
Those side panels of Bentō are made out of wood, and they've been split down that one side.
Oh no, not the flag. They're now damaging into the flag. No, they went after it. And I think that is the end of the battle.
End of that. Ultraviolence causing some violence.
Begin, and Zephyrus' weapon gets up to speed, but Sir Lance-a-Frog trying to put an end to that.
Now, Nick did say he had a new weapon for this weekend. I wonder if you're going to see it here.
And Sir Lance-a-Frog doing exactly what they need to do, putting them into the corner, diving to the side. They don't want to face that weapon at all.
Zephyrus has lost one side of drive, and Sir Lance-a-Frog piling the pressure on, pushing them into that corner.
And now Sir Lance-a-Frog trying to put them up against the wall. Can they pin them? Not quite. Sir Lance-a-Frog running away for a bit of a repositioning manoeuvre.
Bit of respite in underneath. Zephyrus once again avoiding that weapon very nicely so far.
Well, you can hear a little bit of grinding as that spinning disc does grind on the top of Sir Lance-a-Frog. It's a dangerous place to be. Anywhere near Zephyrus is a dangerous place to be.
Lance-a-Frog hits the pin button. Can they give them the big heave-ho? Zephyrus trying to use its gyro weapon.
And now we're getting into the zone where that spinning disc starts to hit the floor. It's disco time, everyone, as we are flying around the arena into the pit. It's holding on for dear life.
It's not in the pit, but it's in the pit. It's a win for Sir Lance-a-Frog. Zephyrus eliminated.
Begin. And both Roboteers letting their weapons get fired up. And look at this. Look at the speed and the carnage. You can hear the whining. And now the grinding is taking place.
Shredding one of the wheels there was Night Fury, but in on the attack is Oubley, in underneath. Night Fury gyroing on its side.
So Night Fury now stuck in a bit of no man's land where they can't get the traction they need on the wheels. Oubley doing their best to get in on this fight. A big hit there as the weapons engage with each other.
That was one of the side wedges of Oubley ripped away, so that side's now going to be slightly more vulnerable to Night Fury spinner. Over goes Oubley.
And it's interesting, they are putting their weapons face to face. They're not going after each other's weak spots. They want to deal with each other head on.
Oubley gyros itself back over, but that other wedge at the side is bent, and Night Fury is causing the damage. Popped into the air by Oubley.
So Oubley now taking a moment to think about his next move. Up into the air once again, Light Fury flying down from the sky. It is flying around this arena now. Oubley is taking control.
Trying to, it hits the ceiling, but back down on its wheels, and Night Fury with a big smack again. Over goes Oubley, and Oubley's now unbalanced. One of the teeth might have come out.
So the wheels of Oubley are really hampering it. Night Fury there doing a good amount of damage to the wheels once again. They're getting back into this fight after being thrown into the air multiple times. Speaking of which,
the weapon has stopped on Night Fury. That could be crucial. But Oubley's struggling for traction. He can't transition across the arena.
So the pit is now activated. Night Fury is going to be desperately trying to get around the back of Oubley and push them towards the pit. But Oubley pirouetting. If Night Fury isn't careful, they'll be in the pit themselves.
They've got just enough traction to manoeuvre itself around the arena. Night Fury hit against the wall and stops. And that is such a shame. What a phenomenal fight between these two. Night Fury pinned on the wall.
Begin.
Away we go.
So Abu Dhabi in the red corner, and now we're starting to see the tactical incoming storm that is Rust in Pieces as they take one to the left side, one to the right side, and working together. But the shuffling bot of Rust in Pieces, or sorry, the shuffling bot of Abu Dhabi it's not going anywhere, and Rust in Pieces is struggling to get underneath.
I think one of them's caught underneath and can't get itself free, but it is pushing Abu Dhabi against the wall.
No, it is able to get itself free. They're just containing it. I think they're sacrificing one cluster bomb
putting it down the pit
so that other can do the yeah. That is absolutely the game plan here. But Abu Dhabi shuffling away as quick as it can scamper. So they have gotten away from the pit, and now it's back onto Rust in Pieces to get to where they need it to be. And they're going to work together.
Excellent by Rust in Pieces. And they go through Abu Dhabi into the pit
corner. Luchador is in the red, and Luchador first to get out of the corner. Fang waiting to get their spinning weapon up to speed, and now you can hear it grinding into the right hand side of Luchador. Look at the damage done to that ramp, it's already splitting half. But Luchador not staying out of this fight. They are now charging into Fang, and down came the fangs of Luchador. They did a good bit of damage there. I think they've disrupted the weapon of Fang. but that time that now has given Fang this weapon to come back up to speed, launching Luchador into the wall.
Pit enabled.
So the pit button is now enabled. Fang moving straight over to hit it.
Going down.
And that damage on Luchador is really hindering it.
The wedge off Luchador, I think, split itself as well. Look at that.
Yeah, it's absolutely split in half by Fang. And now Fang getting in onto the side of Luchador, doing some extra damage. Really impressive speed there as it dived over to Luchador and slowly nudging over to the pit we go. And that was very close there from Luchador, but it's just seesawing his way away.
A big smack down the pit and Fang circles in the lights. And a great win for Fang.
Begin.
Away we go. Bakugo up to speed. It goes blue, trying to get in underneath. Green. Hit through the air. Bakugo gets a good little nibble on it. Trying to get that weapon up to speed.
And you can't really see it because of how fast it is spinning, but that is spinning at a fantastic rate of knots.
The fork off of blue there.
And green seems to have lost their fork as well, as red is almost in the Uta zone. Up into the air goes blue.
Bakugo self-fighting there expertly was red. Green pushing Bakugo back. They just kind of pin it in the corner if they want to have any chance of survival.
But it looks like red is slightly immobilized there, although it's getting some traction. It's now down to blue and green, so I have to say it's almost a 2 against 1 situation. The pit has
one
dropped.
of the wheels has come off blue, and now goes green. Straight out the arena. Red has been smacked around a little bit. Bakugo has lost its weapon belt, though. That's going to be crucial. Can the remaining Bish Bash Bosh robots corral it to the pit? I wonder. It's got to be their only hope, surely.
Well, between
like
them.
That! Exactly like that! Bakugo had the
Into the pit!
And down they go!
Begin.
Boring Bots coming from the red square, Vertex from the blue.
And look at Boring Bot there, getting right behind Vertex.
Oh!
What an upset! What an upset! Boring Bot into the Uta zone! Begin.
Titan straight up to speed, Lilith straight across the arena and putting it against the arena wall, bouncing down his Titan.
So Lilith was there, sparks flying off of Lilith as Titan really gets the spinner up and running, and unfortunately Lilith did not get close enough and did not stop that from powering up.
I know
now,
Dave won't be happy that the paintwork is coming off Lilith, look at that.
And now they are trying, or getting caught on the arena pit floor there, but now they're dodging each other quite expertly. Lilith doing everything it can to pin Titan up against the wall.
Snagged on one of the horns, look at that. But escapes. Titan stuck on top of Lilith. Lilith pushing Titan against the wall.
And now Lilith putting Titan into the wall and grinding away is Titan.
Turning it over as well, not going to improve. Titan, big smack there. And something's come off. I think it was the back panel maybe.
Going down.
So I'm pretty sure, looking at the paintwork, it's definitely off of Lilith there. More shrapnel, that is the same shrapnel.
And Titan gyros down the pit. Lilith the winner.
Begin.
Bby Shrekt up to speed from the word go. Motherloader trying to position itself nicely towards Bby Shrekt. Oh, it's inevitable that kind of thing will happen.
And
again,
not only once, but
the
twice.
hammer's gone off of Motherloader. That's the end of the weapon. Oh,
3 times. Let's count them down. So Bby Shrekt really taking control of this fight, and there is the axe on the floor.
Motherloader still. That's 4.
That's 4. I reckon
Oh,
we'll
I
get a
think
couple
that's
more.
it though. I think that's the end of Motherloader. It stopped moving.
Enabled.
Well, I think a round of applause for
6,
Motherloader for taking
5,
so much
4,
punishment.
3.
Bby Shrekt is scary.
It can be.
It really
can
is.
be.
It really is. Sam, that was unkind. Come on.
Begin.
Thank you, Sam.
So we're back into the robot arena, and we have Step Up against Déjà 2. Déjà 2 currently up against the side with Step Up taking control of this competition. This is going to be a grabbing battle between the two, and so far I think Step Up are really getting the better of it. Although Déjà 2 has the option to drift around the arena, the traction isn't so much a strong suit, but as I say that, it is giving Step Up a bit of a shunt back.
Step Up, of course, earlier on today, absolute pasting from Titan, has recovered well. Déjà 2 lifting Step Up into the air, but now caught on the wedge of
It wasn't
Déjà
quite
2.
a superplex, and really that just lifted them on top of themselves, and now they do look a little stuck. The wheels of Step Up just getting to...
Begin.
We're back into this, and now Step Up with that shovel, put it in.
There you go.
Two
Much
driving
more like it from
right
Step
into the
Up.
corner.
And Déjà 2 turns, Step Up 3D, up and over.
So again, not quite the superplex that we've seen from Déjà 2, but that is very important for the judges' decision if it goes to it. We have a minute left.
Some lovely drifts as well from Déjà too. Once again, almost got its fork caught in the pit there. And
It is getting caught, but they're lifting up, trying to drift around, and yes they do.
Pit going down.
And, well, very sneaky of step up there. They moved over to the pit button, whilst Déjà 2 was getting stuck on the floor.
I think they kind of realised that this is their opportunity to kind of just launch them down, because unfortunately like they can't self-right with their weapon that they have, and I think they've actually stopped on the arena floor.
The count out has begun for step up, whilst Déjà Vu continues to move around.
Déjà 2 spins around and tries to suplex, but fails and pulls itself over.
But it is able to self-right, so that is fantastic stuff for them.
10,
I can hear the countdown
9,
still going
8,
for step
7,
up.
6, 5,
At the end of the fight, so we've got 4, 3, 2, 1 second. And it goes to our esteemed panel of judges.
So for the first time this is
begin.
Away we go.
So the spinner getting going of Icebreaker, and now Red Fox not quite going up the ramp of Icebreaker. They're actually getting underneath Icebreaker and they're taking control.
Slowly manoeuvring towards the sides. Of course, that long front lip, if you like, of Icebreaker is good in the sense it can get, right underneath and, scoop people into their weapon. However, there's a lot of robot to turn, and that will limit them somewhat.
And Red Fox, I have to say, is doing a fantastic job of getting around the side, but now up against the wall, Red Fox skipping out. And it took one hit.
And that is the end of all of the inside Red Fox.
And eventually flipping Red Fox over the side.
So what's happening in the arena right now is, because when Icebreaker hits,
begin.
Away we go. Dolos up to speed, Red Riot up to speed as well. Red Riot trying to get around to the sides of Dolos.
And Red Riot doing everything they can not to get caught on the forks, but Dolos rotating in the right point, and that's the wheel coming off.
And it has come off of Dolos. So now Dolos is down to one-wheel drive already. Can Red Riot take advantage here?
So I think we're seeing Red Riot, absolutely trying to get to the left-hand side. And is that Dolos out of commission?
Well, he's been pushed against the wall. He's escaped. He's still got that one-wheel drive. He's struggling. It's not running freely at all.
And Red Riot there getting an impact on that wheel, but the spinner I don't think did as much damage as they were hoping.
No, definitely not. But Dolos is still struggling and it can't quite transition correctly across the arena. Red Riot trying to get away from the pits.
Well, it's having to find
itself. Now stuck on a seam of the pits.
And it does look to be immobilized. It does look to be stuck. So I don't know if they can reverse out of the situation. Desperately moving their controller.
I mean, that's the end.
That's the end of Red Riot. Red Riot is out of this competition.
Stuck on the pits. We have Inertia in the red square, Chucky in the blue. Good start there from Chucky, turned over. That front plow once again, very resistant but stuck up and over. I think that is the end of Chucky. You come back, Gav, and the fight's finished.
I've literally just sat down in my chair and Inertia has done all of the damage it's needed. Unfortunately, Chucky out of the competition.
And a win for Inertia B4.
Begin.
Away we go, straight out of the traps.
So Resistance in hot pursuit of Carbonated Beverage. Carbonated Beverage the wrong way around to be doing what it needs to do with its flipper. Look at the bottles flailing around.
Absolutely amazing. It's so ungamely, I love it. And Resistance trying to chase him down, trying to enforce itself into the arena wall.
And I think we're starting to see some pins now up against the wall, so that's Resistance putting Carbonated Beverage up against the wall. That's exactly its game plan. Wait until the pin becomes active, then maybe use the button, or they'll just control the fight.
Over goes Resistance, a flip there, a popular flip indeed from Carbonated Beverage. Resistance struggling a little bit. Maybe lost the corner of the drive, I'm not quite sure.
And I think that's Carbonated Beverage getting a little stuck under the wall, but using their flipper, they got this stuck. That's a terrible way to put it.
They freed themselves. Resistance in underneath now, pushing Carbonated Beverage towards that arena wall, and inexorably, I think, towards the pits. Carbonated Beverage.
It's a very slow process. There's a minute left to go, and both of them, you go first, sir. No, you. They are taking it in turns. They don't know who's going to be the one to go into the pit.
Resistance trying to get round to the back of Carbonated Beverage, but because of its own drive issues, is struggling to get away.
And I want to say that the long nature of Carbonated Beverage is really close,
and
but it flips. saved
frees
himself.
itself from the pit.
The long-
Resistance is very close. Carbonated beverage.
The long body of carbonated beverage is, I think, hurting it here because it cannot quite get around that corner. It is stuck. So Resistance is going to be trying to shove it. It's getting closer to the pit. It's getting closer to the pit.
I think carbonated beverage has also lost the side of drive, which means it can't escape the clutches of Resistance. So I think Resistance is just holding it
There's
there.
15 seconds left. Can they hold on? It's going to be so close. Carbonated beverage over the corner.
It's
It's
going.
flipping
It's
itself
going.
in.
Six,
5,
5,
4,
Hold on for the judges.
3,
Carbonated
2,
beverage.
1.
It goes to the judges, just about.
In the blue.
Begin.
Let's see what happens in this fight. And straight away, Rust in Pieces up into the air.
Recovering well though, Boss trying to chase after the other twin of Rust in Pieces. Up and over are both of them at the moment. They don't have their wedges on the floor.
And then getting spun around in a complete flat 360. M-Boss is doing a lot of damage, but it is being swarmed by the two Rust in Pieces cluster bots.
It's not the easiest thing to eliminate because there are two of them and they are quite more difficult to control. And there's multiple opponents you've got to aim for.
And I think if I was Rust in Pieces, I'd be staying over to the outer zone. That is one down.
Going
and
down.
now there is one left. N-Boss is now in a
Going down.
one-on-one fight, and it is upside down. Rust in Pieces is upside down.
It is, but N-Boss is stuck on. For a little moment there, I'm sure Shane Lale's heart skipped a beat as the weapon spins down.
Well, this is going to be an interesting battle. I know Shane likes his maneuverability. He fancies his chances, but it's risky.
Yeah, he's. I know why he's done it. He's because before, people have bounced out into the user zone by accident, and he's definitely powered it down himself. I wonder if that'll backfire though, because Rust in Pieces is well driven.
And I want to say he's being brave. He's putting his back towards the pit there when they were in the blue zone. And now we have a pushing fight, and now it's getting stuck.
And Rust in Pieces down the pit, and as you say that, N-Boss spins up once again, and is your winner.
Begin.
Away we go. Abracagrabra, of course, so far so good. 2 wins out of 2. Fang has had to fight his way back through the redemptions.
And already Fang doing some damage there to the back of Abracagrabra, so that weapon's doing some damage. Grabia trying to get underneath Fang so that they can lift him up, but listen to the grinding.
Big hit there on one of the wheels, and off comes a whole tyre and wheel, and it's punted away, and another one, and I think that's enough.
I think that is Fang.
Has had enough, and Fang, beautifully done, is through to the round of 8.
And some fantastic driving. So Lance-a-Frog immediately trying to go to the side, but up it gets Fling.
But in underneath goes to Lance-a-Frog, and in underneath it turns Vertex over. Self-rights, and a big hit there from Vertex, and again, and again.
So putting them up against the wall there, giving no mercy whatsoever. And so Lance-a-Frog not the way they want to be, but I'm sure Vertex with one more hit will sort that out in a heartbeat.
Grinding away at the front of Lance-a-Frog, which has its wedge bent as well, which won't help it. Lance-a-Frog away very speedily.
And I can't count the number of flips it did there, but Sir Lance-a-Frog trying to get some respite, trying to get away so they can get some more purchase in this fight, but no, Vertex immediately putting them in their place. How many flips has this been?
The tip of the lance of the frog has now been ripped away as well. Over it goes again, but it's still going, Lance-a-Frog, and again.
Here's a hardy robot, but look at that mangled face that it has now. The flipper is not going to be working, so this is going to come into a shunting match, unless it gets into the outer
Once
zone.
again, Vertex for the second time today from halfway across the arena. Launching
For this combat.
Away we go. Lilith slowly out of the traps there. Took it easy. Déjà 2 getting in underneath, beating Lilith's front wedge. Over goes Déjà 2.
And is that it? Is that it for Déjà 2? They're stuck on their side. I don't think they can do anything. They're trying to seesaw. Lilith is already showboating.
Oh, Lilith absolutely just dominating straight away. And poor Déjà 2 didn't really get a chance to show what it could do. Lilith is your winner through to the round of 8.
Begin.
And we are off and underway. And straight underneath his icebreaker, that low front scoop, getting in underneath Bby Shrekt's forks. Interesting.
But now Bby Shrekt returning the favour, getting underneath Icebreaker, and Icebreaker doing a great job to position Bby Shrekt close to the outer zone, but now Bby Shrekt returning the favour again.
One of those forks is bent on Bby Shrekt, that won't help him.
And the low scoop of Icebreaker, I think so far we've seen that the scoop of Icebreaker is better suited to this battle, but Bby Shrekt once again getting underneath.
Pit is enabled. I don't know if either of these two will want the pit, because if they start bouncing around, that could be a problem for either of them. Bby Shrekt's form seems to have repositioned itself.
And Bby Shrekt definitely the more manoeuvrable of the two. It's been running around this arena looking for an opening to get under Icebreaker, but Icebreaker is still lower to the floor. Bby Shrekt trying to do anything to get around, and the floor of the arena now coming into play.
Manoeuvring very carefully here, Icebreaker trying to get round to the front. Oh, and a big hit on Bby Shrekt. That's the first meaningful damage we've seen from Icebreaker.
But now again, Bby Shrekt getting underneath Icebreaker, so it is tit for tat. This is going to be very difficult if it comes to the judge's decision. Less than a minute to go.
It's amazing. Both of these robots have amazingly powerful vertical spinners, but neither of them had a chance to use them.
And it's almost as if the forks of Bby Shrekt and the ramp of Icebreaker has given him enough distance. A little touch there on the forks.
Oh, and a big hit from Icebreaker, pirouetting through the areas, Bby Shrekt, and returning the favour.
So it has been tit for tat. This is incredibly close. We come into the final 30 seconds. Shout and cheer for who you think's going to win. Icebreaker once again up into the air. I think the favour's in Bby Shrekt's play.
It is now. I think Icebreaker needs to get some points on the board, and quickly. Icebreaker now starting to be damaged by Bby Shrekt. That wheel is pinned, and I think the weapon is slowing on Icebreaker.
And there it comes. The wheel is now fully dislodged. So Bby Shrekt getting the...
And he's tapped out right at the end. It's a win for Bby Shrekt through to the top 8.
Begin. And the spinning weapons get up to speed, and Inertia making the first move.
Oh.
And Spinner v Spinner, that was a massive amount of damage.
Hit again, Oubley into the ceiling, and the weapon on Oubley has stopped. Shredding the wheels is Inertia at the moment. Oubley doesn't know which way it is.
So Oubley has lost its weapon, but Inertia staying down to the ground and doing a lot of damage. They are now in full control of this fight. Look at the wheel on Oubley, absolutely ripped to shreds, as there goes the other one.
The whole wheel has come off, and I think Oubley has had enough.
It didn't take long.
With the win, moving on to the round of 8, Oubley battle Ultraviolence, the Egg Beater. And straight away, off comes one of the forks of Bish Bash Bosh. Blue has taken a beating.
So Blue decided to sacrifice itself first to go in against Ultraviolence, and now look at the clustering. They are trying to control Ultraviolence, but they're just getting ripped to shreds.
The weapon of Ultraviolence, though, has slowed to a stop.
So now it is a pushing match. It is
gone.
3 versus 1. They overwhelmed Ultraviolence and they did their job. They broke the weapon.
They absolutely did. The weapon belt has come flapping off of Ultraviolence, and now it is a pushing match. A 3 against 1 pushing match nonetheless. The pit button has been pressed. Red has lost the side of drive.
I was going to say, red and green, both of them look to be on one-wheel drive at the moment. The pit has now fallen, so this is going to bring it right into contention for any one of them. Of course, Ultraviolence needs to get 3 robots into the pit to win this match.
Absolutely, and Ultraviolence, they are being surrounded here by the 3 Bish Bash Bosh bots. And, well, Ultraviolence trying to get a 2-for-1 here. Can they do it? They get neither. And Ultraviolence in the pit! And Bish Bash Bosh have won again. Away we go. Resistance straight out of the traps. Dolos with those forks at the front, trying to prevent Resistance from going around the side, and has got Resistance pinned into the corner.
This is really a battle of long forks versus short forks, isn't it? They have both got them. And now the hammer coming down of Dolos there, grinding against the floor of the arena, not quite hitting Resistance.
So far, so good for Resistance, avoiding that weapon, but Resistance hasn't really scored any points of its own. It needs to get around to the back and start commanding the fight.
And now they're both driving into each other, and I think Dolos has got a good grip there on Resistance, but not quite enough to get the weapon into position.
Not yet. Resistance trying to circle around the back. And
this is it!
Surely, and sends it into it and hits the forks.
So you can hear the cheer from the crowd there. Only one hit though, only one hit.
It is available for those who want it. Dolos trying to maneuver around to the side of Resistance once again, or pin it out of the arena maybe. Can they push them out?
Not quite sure, but Dolos there, it really is a robot of expectations, because the anticipation whilst the hammer winds up and then comes down.
Maneuvering Resistance to the pit. Beautifully done. Dolos pisses Resistance and is through to the next round.
Begin.
Away we go. Lilith boost first and straight into the air, and off comes that wedge for the second time.
So riding right up the forks there, and so close to the Udstone. What's that being exposed? Is that anything exposed there by Lilith?
I think that's it. I think Lilith has no self-rising mechanism. It was damaged by N-Boss, and N-Boss through to the semi-finals.
This is going to be an interesting competition. Do they go head-to-head? Yes, they do.
And Fang with the initial early advantage. Look at that. And they've ripped off one of those forks at the front, have they?
And is that the spinner of Bby Shrekt? Is it still working?
It's not working currently. Has it gone down? Fang here causing all kinds of damage to the front end of Bby Shrekt. They wouldn't have been expecting this.
And Bby Shrekt now doing their best to stay in contact with Fang, because that's what they want to do. They want their spinning weapon to do something. But Fang, no, you're right, Bby Shrekt's weapon is not working.
It's not. I think the belt has gone on Bby Shrekt, and he's bailing for the pit here. Bby Shrekt's a struggle. It's up and over! And Fang has done it! Bby Shrekt up and over and out.
Inertia, Bish Bash Bosh.
Red goes straight to Inertia through the air, but pinning into the wall is Blue.
And Inertia have their spinner absolutely not where they need it to do any damage. Look at that red bot holding Inertia up against the wall, but now it's loose.
There goes Blue. I think that's the end of Blue as well. Blue stuck on its end, I think.
So I think for the first time, Bish Bash Bosh are now actually down to 2 robots in a very early point of the match.
But look at this, Green holding Inertia and now Red underneath.
So they are sandwiching Inertia. It's a Bish Bash Bosh sandwich. And look at this, Green is having enough momentum here to hold Inertia up against the wall.
Oh, there goes some more.
Oh no, the blue robot! The Fang and the blue robot is stuck in Inertia's weapon.
Blue from the dead is going to do some more work for Bish Bash Bosh. Surely not another fight where they're going to.
Well, there's nothing that they can do. Inertia is now carrying around a heavy robot. The red of Bish Bash Bosh close to the pit.
And Green in underneath Inertia now. The face of Red coming off as well. Inertia's still stuck with the corpse of Blue, jamming the weapon. Now free. And now damage caused.
So the spinner was not damaged, it is now unleashed, and the red robot is being targeted, but now the green robot. Inertia hit the Ota!
BBB, Bish Bash Bosh, Inertia B4 out.
But let's begin the combat.
Away we go. Vertex up to speed straight away.
And already that gyroscopic effect, but look at this, stuck on the forks. And now what does we do here? I don't see Dolos spinning up the hammer spinner, so I think they're just going to hold him and contain him. But unfortunately, the pit button isn't enabled yet, so there's nothing Dolos can do. Does this count as a pin?
I don't think I think they're going to separate because they can't be separated.
Dolos could not wait out that pit button, and now we see Vertex going straight in. But are they going to make the same mistake? Dolos looking to pin them up, get those forks underneath Vertex, and no, Vertex is now doing some work to the forks.
Vertex in underneath. Well, it was underneath briefly, but now Dolos once again using those long forks to disrupt Vertex in underneath once again and push them into the corner, and a big slam.
And now was Vertex doing damage to itself there. Dolos able to throw Vertex up against the wall.
There goes that pit button as predicted. Dolos going for the big push of Vertex down the pits.
And really what Dolos is looking to do here, they're looking to throw Vertex up against the wall, get them onto the forks and then carry them over to the wall, the pit. But they're just not able to do that. Vertex is just staying off of the forks enough.
Absolutely, so far so good though for Dolos, and is carrying slowly. Oh! Well, they're both in the pit.
And the hammer's coming down. And that's it. In it goes.
Slowly but surely. Vertex hits the bit at the bottom of the pit first.
Begin. And then Boss up to speed and right away.
Sneak it. Oh!
It's out!
Over! Oh, dearie me. One hit was all it took. Away we go.
And Bish Bash Bosh tripping over themselves a little bit and immediately going after the red robot and stuck into the blade. The red robot is now attached. And look at this.
Snagged the weapon. Oh no, it's not. It's the 3D print that snagged the weapon of Dolos.
So the 3D print is sheared, and now that's entangled on Dolos' weapon, and blue and green can now go to work trying to contain. I think red robot is still in this.
I think, look, blue is goal hacking for the pitting because they know that Dolos can't escape that quickly.
I mean, this is an entanglement, surely.
It is.
Begin.
Weapon spins up, but pit button activated straight
and
away.
Immediately, the pit is now down. But red and blue putting Dolos up against the wall. Look at that, that's fantastic control by the 2 robots.
Dolos using the spinner rearward and pulling the whole face off of red there.
And once again, red is now stuck up against the whole of the plastic covering. It's come off of red, but blue and green doing their best. Dolos is now taking them over to the pit. Do we see green fall in?
But
no, it hangs on and is now
life.
back to fight for more.
I have to say, if BBB do make it through this, how are they going to fix red? There's nothing left of it.
Or gaffer tape. If you can't fix it with tape,
We're off
put more tape.
Dolos has now been set free of red. Green and blue stuck together. Blue stuck on the forks of Dolos and to stop the fighting once again.
begin.
And Red immediately straight over to the back of Dolos. Can they give it the big old Evo towards the pit? They're trying their best.
Well,
Green
Blue
moves
is
out
now
of the way.
lifting up Dolos, so now they're underneath Dolos, and that is fantastic work by the team.
Dolos escapes though, and now has the chance to kind of maneuver itself away from that pit, which it needs to do, needs to survive. Bish, bash, bosh.
And I'm not sure what Blue's doing. They're putting the backside, not the front side, not the shovel up against Dolos, but they're looking. Red seems to be really out of
And
it.
Red is in the pit. That's 1/3 of Bish, bash, bosh down. Dolos now trying to spin up, but it can't spin up, it can't use the weapon. Green
7,
stuck on the fork.
6,
Blue pushing
5,
towards the wall, but is
4,
it enough?
3.
I'm not
think
too
it's
sure.
gonna go to our
1.
judges.
And one last hammer just for the fun of it.
Well, well, well.
Begin.
Up to speed straight away is Fang. Bish, bash, bosh straight out of the traps as well, and stopping that spinner crucially.
So Blue and Red getting in there, and now Green making some inroads, and Fang turning itself into a spinner, and look at that actually working. Red firing off the back of him. Is that Fang spinner? I think it's dead. I don't think it's
so. And it's
working.
now turned itself into a full body spinner instead, and Red's trying to copy it, I think. Blue is jamming its rocket into the very heart of Fang and pushing it towards the wall.
So this is going to be a shunting match waiting for that pit button. Fang does still have the shovel on the
Pit
back of
enabled
it.
and pressed by Green. Fang up to speed now.
Going down.
What can the Bish, bash, bosh trio do about
Going
that? Stop it is what they can do.
Well, for a second I thought Fang was going to almost baseball swing one of the cluster robots into the pit. And
Slowly
very
but
close
surely.
we come.
Oh, but Blue goes down. That's one done for Fang. There's down to 2 clusters. Green and Red, can they deal with Fang's full body spinner technique? Well, it can, because they can weight them like that. Oh, so close.
And Red was very, very close there. The fork's getting stuck on Fang. Fang, very close.
And
In
Red
goes
goes
Red.
down. It's 1-on-1. Fang has dealt with 2 of the Bish, bash, bosh cluster bots.
So it didn't need its spinner in the end. It just needed to wait for the pit to
And
be
Green
dropped.
turns.
And look at that.
What's
Look
the
at
fight
that.
back? Oh, it's so close.
God, cheer it on, cheer it
Can
on.
Green do
They
it?
can do it.
And
Yes!
there goes Fang. And Bish, bash, bosh is 3rd place.
Begin.
Up to speed, Boss heading towards Dolos, but those forks are keeping them at arm's length.
And Dolos' forks, yes, they're doing a fantastic job, but they're getting stuck on the pit.
And a
now
big smack
Boss in,
there,
they
and one of
come.
those are bent now from the impact from Boss, but look, Dolos turns it around in underneath.
And they are. Those long forks are doing exactly what they need to do. They're biding time. 20 seconds is already gone. Boss just can't get close enough.
There's not getting a major hit on it, are they? Can they get in underneath? The problem is they're not long enough to get underneath Dolos. Dolos has got that reach advantage.
Enabled.
Now is when they can cause damage like that. Dolos hitting the pit button now.
So there we go. So the strategy is in
Going
full
down.
swing. Dolos now upside down.
Going
Is
down.
that
Can
the end?
itself right.
So Dolos
Can
has the
itself
flipper.
right. It can.
Oh!
Unbelievable! And
So-
self-right and hits the back of Boss. And
So-
then underneath, they've turned it around! Boss towards the
But
pit!
Dolos-
the
Dolos
wall's
has
gone
lost
off
the
Dolos!
wheel.
Unbelievable! They couldn't get it down!
So they're pirouetting. The forks of Dolos are bent. You can see it. The hammer is coming down. And we got 1 minute left to go. Boss, I think, is in full control of this
It
fight.
needs to just take that one wheel up, but it's easier said than done. Boss now causing damage to Dolos, but Dolos is still in the fight.
And the wheel is spinning, but the referee is counting. I don't know, is this the end? I think that's enough movement.
I
I'm
think
not
that's an
sure.
improvement. He's still going. Boss spinning up to speed, goes round the back of Dolos and now hits the back end. Can Boss finish Dolos off this 30 seconds remaining?
And that's not what Dolos wants. That's where the control systems are. The referee is starting the countdown.
Boss circling into life.
Five,
They think they've won
4, 3, 2, 1, cease.
it. Your winners are Boss.